Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll make an eyeball. Let's get started. So let's make a sphere. Now rotate it this way. Now we need to give it some divisions, and the divisions we want to give it is something that is easily quadded. And when you have a subdivision axis of 20, where if you divide it by 4, the result is an odd number, you get this in the middle. You basically, at 45 degrees, you get a flat face. So it's not an easy thing to quad. So what you want to do is you want to actually go to like 24. You get a 45 degree edge loop, 32, or even a 64. I think 64 might be good because I want to do some extra detail here. So let's do 64, and then we want to give it enough divisions in height to kind of match our axis subdivisions. And you want to make sure when you do this, you have a subdivision right down the middle. So 36 works like that. I'm going to duplicate and save it. So I'm going to duplicate and hide because I want a version that is like this. Now what I want to do is I want to make a quadded version of the front and back, and it's going to be, it's kind of confusing how this works, but basically if I take a quadrant like this, this is my way of doing it. There's other ways to do it, but this is the way I like to do it. Delete that much, delete half like that. We don't need all that extra geo while we work on this. And then what we want to do is we want to find that 45 degree line and use the multi-cut tool, and then you want to go straight up until you get a lot. You want to find like a concentric edge loop that gives you the most vertical line when you go up from this 45 degree edge loop down there. So I think this one is good, because if we go one higher, it's going to go, it's not going to be as straight. If we go this way, it's going to lean to the left too much. Otherwise it leans to more to the right too much. So now we're going to see if this works. You go this way, right, same point, and then we follow this line this way and drop the edge loop. And then you want to just go down this edge loop and repeat like so. Now you know if you got it right is that when you get to the end here, you create one face like this, right? And you make a quad like that. We can then go in here, double click these edge loops, Control Delete, and then we can just select these edges here and delete. And I know you can also use like you can make a cube and then shrink wrap it to a sphere, but the problem is we want these concentric lines for some of the work we're going to be doing. So, and then we can take this, duplicate it, Shift D, and then duplicate in this direction. -1, that. Merge vertices, self and edge. I'm going to hide this one. I'm going to bring back this sphere, and we actually need just the front of this one. So I'm going to select the back and delete like this, and then bring back this guy and select the front on this one, delete. So what I need is, I want the front here, we're going to make the iris and the pupil to be pulled like this, and then the back to be like that. Combine, merge, soften edge, like that. All right, now we need to pick an edge for the iris. How big the iris is going to be. I want to make a big eye, like maybe it's a little cartoony or something like that, more like an anime eye. So if this is going to be our edge for the iris, I want to select these vertices like this. You can then use the scale tool, snap it to this vertex, and when you double click the scale tool, you want to make sure that prevent negative scale is off, like that. then we can scale this to the back like this. You can select this vertex here, convert it to faces, and delete it. We'll end up with this. Now we can add some edge loops. So we can just do a bevel here, chamfer off, like that. And then I just like to take this edge and scale it out a little bit. Okay. Now this edge will bring out. All right, so now if I go to bonus tools, you can download bonus tools, just do a Google search for my bonus tools, Randomize Advanced. And we're gonna use component right here. And if we look at our selection, the way it's oriented, X is where we wanna randomize. So this is X, Y, Z. So I'm gonna put 0 and 0 in Y and Z because I only wanna randomize it in X. So then I can just do this and do a translate like that. We can then select this one and do the same but a little less. So now you see how it's affecting the other vertices. Just click reload selected. Now I want it to be very little, so I'm gonna just manually type in like 3 like that. And then same with this one. Go to vertices, double click, reload selected. This one just a little bit like that. Now what we need to do is create the pupil. And the way I create the pupil, I just make a sphere like this, scale it down. I'm gonna move the sphere over, the cube over, and subdivide it once. Just once is enough. Delete this face here, click extrude, then extrude like this. So we get something that looks like this little sphere here. We want to invert it because we want to look inside of it. And then we're going to push it back into the eyeball. If you press 3, you can see where it's going to intersect. And what you want to do is you want to scale it so that it's just outside of where our iris wraps in, like that. So when we look inside, we just see this, right? We just see our pupil, nothing else. You can't see from the edge. That looks great. Now we can combine them. They don't have to be separate. They'll get the same texture. So scale it a little bit, like that. And just so we can see what's happening, I'm going to assign a blend, and I'm going to set the color to almost black, increase the spec, drop the eccentricity, and then increase the transparency, like that. All right, so now we need to make the lens here. And if you're not sure what the shape of it should be, you can use a sphere. Sorry, not a sphere, a curve. So just go to curves, make a circle. And if I take this circle, move the pivot here like this, I can move it over and then figure out like what my the shape of the lens should be. And if you make it too big, it's going to be kind of weird. It's going to be hard to put eyelids over it. So we're going to go a little bit over, not too much. And you can see all I'm doing is just trying to scale it and match with that. It's just a guide, that's all. So now if I select these vertices here, you can go to the form and create a lattice. I'm going to give the lattice a division this way. Then I can scale this lattice, not scale it, but just move it over, match this. And then the interior lattice points I can use to scale out and match the curvature. Like that. So the circle we don't need anymore. I'm going to select this edge loop, do a quick bevel, chamfer off, and just like we did before with the iris, I'm going to scale this out just to continue that curvature. So I want to get rid of these the vertices here, all of these high balance vertex. Now, in order to do that, I need more geo. So I'm gonna click relative distance under the insert edge loop tool, insert with edge flow, and then from the side here you can see if I start adding loops. All right, now let's see if this works. Now when I'm working like this and the back is going to get in the way, what I like to do is just separate the geo, detach like that, and then like this. Click this button, which is extract. You can hide this for now, hide this, and work only on this piece. If I want to work just on one section, I can do that. Also detach, delete. So the geo is done. Now let's do UVs quickly. Let's also name everything because it's a little confusing. So this is, we'll call this eyeball, or actually just eye, or eyeball, doesn't matter. And then this we'll call sclera. This is the outside, like the wet part in the lens. So the UVs are going to be pretty simple. Easiest way to do this, of course, is to do a projection from the front. Select both geometries. Go into UV, planar, X direction, that's the direction we're looking at right now. Apply, there. It's simple. And then we'll select this edge here, right down the middle. Click cut. Separate this out. Then unfold, unfold. Now we need to save this file because it's not saved yet. Save scene as eyeball. And then we want to export our UVs into Photoshop. So all we do is select the geometry, go to image, UV snapshot. The resolution we're going to use a 2K map, 2048, because we're making the eyeball is taking up the whole tile, so we don't need to give it a lot of texture size. Browse, we need to place it in our project. I'm not sure why the save snapshot doesn't even know what project you're in, which is kind of annoying. But we'll put it in here. We'll call this I UV like that .png. Save PNG and tile 1.1. That's the tile we're on. Click apply. Now we have our UVs in here. We need to make it visible so we can actually see what's going on. So what I like to do is make a new layer, fill this layer with dark gray, like this. Makes it easier to see. And just for myself, I like to make the wireframe green. So you press this lock button and then Alt Delete. That'll fill the wireframe. And then we need to find some textures. So I found an iris texture, a realistic one online, and then I went through and fixed it. the way we're going to do this is we're going to flatten everything down below this black and white mat that I made. We'll select this, that, click merge layers. If I control click this layer to select inverse, control C, copy like that, and then come back into Photoshop, and then paste. Here's our texture. And then we can line this up to our to the image here. Make sure to get rid of the wireframe, and then we'll save this as a PNG for a texture. Maya, let's apply the color. Open up the shade, and then we'll make 2 standard surface. 1, 2, like that, 2 of them, and then this one we'll call eyeball MTL, and then this one will be sclera MTL, like that. So the sclera goes on there, and then the eyeball. So now what we need to do is we need to bring in our texture. So we just go to File, like that, bring in the File node, find our texture, PNG, there it is, and assign to both. The easiest way to assign it, select the material, middle drag onto base color, then same this one. Now the sclera will be transparent, so we need to actually open the attributes for it. Go to Arnold, turn off opaque, and then in here the roughness is going to be very small, like that, and then transmission, it's going to be very transmissive, so all the way up. We press 6, you can see what that looks like. Now the color part of the eye should not have any specular, so all we do is we just take the roughness all the way. If you want, you can drop the specular down. This will make sure that it doesn't get any speck, but we can have a little, shouldn't be too bad, so drop the roughness. Alright, so we need to make sure it subdivides when it renders. So select each one, open the Arnold under the shape node, and go down to subdivision, and let's subdivide it. And this one as well. So subdivision, catlark 2 should be good. Now let's add some lights so we can see what this would look like. Go to Arnold, lights, and then add a couple arrow lights. Go to renderer here in the viewport, click Arnold, hit the play button. It's going to be very dark, so we're going to go open the attributes for the lights, increase the intensity here. Now if you want to really see that reflection on the eyeball, you should use a sky dome. So I'm going to add a sky dome here, and I went to HDRI Haven and downloaded a Studio HDRI. and just do go to HDRI Haven, do a Google search for it, and then download. They have free HDRIs available, so I downloaded this one. So it's a pretty neutral HDRI. That's why I like to use that one. And I don't want to see it when I render, so I'm going to go into visibility for the sky dome and turn the camera up to 0. Now we hit render, like this. And these reflections here are from the HDRI. It's a little bright, so I'm going to just reduce the intensity. But you'll still be able to see it in the reflections. And our area lights, those are that's what we're seeing reflected in the eyeball as well. And if you go into geometry, we can add it as a bump map. You'll get a bump node. You can see it's really high right now. So you just go in, drop it down. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.